Are you a musician? You in a band?
Kiss my ass.
What?
That's the name of the bleeding band.
Stop blabbering like a pathetic fool.
Get away from her, you bitch!
The Force will be with you, always. Bankai!
Hello YouTubers, you are watching The Rant and I am Darth Jart, and today I'm going to be giving a semi-review for the movie Venom, but my main reason for this video is if Venom belongs in the MCU. But first, I'll give my little review on Venom. Now, Venom on its own, it's a good movie. They made it make sense by having Venom land in San Francisco instead of New York. I love the breakdown of Eddie through the different symptoms, of getting the symbiote inside of him. All of that. That was pretty cool. Even his ex noticed that there was something wrong with him. I had him go to the hospital and all that. And one part was really cool was Eddie rejecting Venom. Like when he said "screw you" and all that. Look at you. That was like, to me, that was a little reference, a small reference in itself of Peter Parker also rejecting the symbiote. So, that was kind of cool. That's really small reference to the wall crawler, right? There's another reference, but we'll get back to that later. Now, back to what I was saying. I somewhat liked how we got to see She-Venom, but it was a little forced. I mean, if we're going to see two people wear the symbiote, we should have gotten Peter, just saying, like Peter and then, Eddie having it, but, it's whatever. I'm not saying she's not welcome. It's just, it's kind of annoying when they really just danced around not having Peter Parker in there at all, and it just bothers me. But She-Venom, that's actually pretty cool to see. And then Riot, he was pretty cool. Seeing some of the other symbiotes and all that, that was pretty cool. I mean, but my thing with She-Venom was the kiss that they shared. Eddie and She-Venom, that grossed me out. She just bit a dude's head off, and it's like, I wouldn't kiss her. I mean, I'm married, and I wouldn't even kiss my wife after eating pickles. So it's like, that's fucking gross. That's all I'm saying. She bit a dude's head off. Like, come on now. And, I have a very big flaw right here. Sorry, I know I'm ranting again. But, She-Venom was cool. But I'm going to move on to Riot now. Riot had a plan to bring the other symbiotes to Earth so they can eat Earth of all the meat and all that, but see, he has a very big flaw in his plan because Venom had it right. He wanted to, even though it was more of a pathetic reason, he didn't want the other symbiotes to come to Earth so he could be the coolest one here and all that, right? But when it really comes down to it, if Riot just said, you know what, forget it, I could kill Venom and have this entire Earth to feast on forever as long as he's not greedy about it. I mean, he'd be able to be on Earth forever and just eat, have an unlimited supply of food, vessels for him to be able to just take over and just move on, right? But he didn't think that way, I guess. So if you ask me, his plan was just a little. It was dumb. It was dumb. He could have just been like, you know what? I realized I could take over this Earth. But it's cool. That's all he get. That's what he gets for being dumb, right? Now, like I said, Venom on its own is a good movie. I enjoyed it, but a couple of things are just not right, and this is where the discussion begins. But before that, I will say my absolutely favorite part of the movie, and that's when, after, Eddie and Venom, they beat up the Foundation's henchmen and all that, and they jump out the apartment building into the alley, and they're, next to that car, and then Venom slaps him up against that brick wall. And Eddie tries to, move his arms and stuff, but, he can't because Venom's showing him, like, you don't have full control. If you ask me, that was the best acted scene throughout the entire film. That scene was just awesome, blew my mind, I loved it. But that's my opinion. I mean, If anyone else loves that scene as much as I do, let me know in the comments below. But other than that, yeah, that scene, I love that scene. That's my absolutely favorite scene. But now, you guys, let's get on to the real rant here, which is how does Venom, if Venom fits in the MCU or not. Now, it makes no sense to me that in the beginning of the movie, right, we have John Jameson is the only pilot to survive the crash. Now let's stop right there. Let's stop right fucking there. Like I said before, I enjoyed this movie, but as long as it's on its own. But to bring J. Jonah Jameson's son into this is just wrong. If this movie is not a part of the MCU, then why bother bringing him into it? It makes no sense. If that's what you're going for, but if not, then the next mention is really pissing me off. Remember, I said something about getting back to a mention. Well, this is it. If Venom isn't a part of the MCU, why mention his disgraceful departure from New York? I mean, it's dumb because they danced around why he actually left New York in the first place. But if they say Venom really is a part of the MCU, then they half-assed his backstory, because 3 fucking names should have been mentioned with pure hatred and anger out of Eddie's mouth, and that's J. Jonah Jameson, Peter Parker, and Spider-Man. So the mixing of everything has me wondering if this movie should be even called an MCU film, or if it should just be, a solo film, because, Sony's dumbasses don't know how to be smart with their movies. So it's just, I don't know where they're trying to go with this at all. It's, you can't do that. It's just, you're half-assing it. If you're trying to say it's an MCU film, then say it's an MCU film and actually put at least mentions in there. Like, you don't even have to actually show the character. You could have just mentioned Peter Parker, mentioned J. Jonah Jameson, but no. You guys gave us his son, and you guys, oh yeah, he left New York, and well, we all know who else is in New York, right? No. How about you actually say his name? Because you know what? That's what connects Eddie Brock to Spider-Man, is the fact that he was in New York with Spider-Man. And, it's just sad because there's these small, pathetic mentions instead of concrete ones, So it's terrible. And let's not forget the main and obvious reason, and that's Venom's origins is intertwined with Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker. Now, I'm not sure about the comics, like, if they've made any new versions of Venom where he doesn't have to, know Spider-Man and all that. Like, Spider-Man didn't get the symbiote first, but I'm very doubtful of that. I'm pretty sure Spider-Man always gets the symbiote first. So that's where it rubs me completely the wrong way, and I'm sure many other fans. But it makes no sense, because if Spider-Man got the suit, he rejected Venom, and it caused Venom to hate Spider-Man because, he had to go find a new host. So then he found Eddie. And Eddie was a perfect host, not only physically, but mentally as well, because he worked at, I can't remember the news place right now for the life of me, but he worked for J. Jonah, right? And then he was a top photographer for many different stories, many different stories. And then after Spider-Man showed up, that's when it started going downhill for him. Just kaput, because he couldn't get a good picture of Spider-Man to save his life, right? So then, next thing you know, some snot-nosed, know-it-all nerd named Peter Parker shows up with pictures of Spider-Man that any newspaper editor would give their right arm for. And J. Jonah Jameson's like, I'll be able to make millions off of this. So, he fired Eddie. And Eddie hated Peter Parker for it, and Spider-Man, which made him the perfect candidate for Venom, right? And they don't even have that in there, so it's terrible. It's terrible. And I can't stand the fact that this is where we're at when it comes to films, because I still don't get it, you guys. I mean, you guys have all this material to pull from. It's not like it's that hard. I mean, I get it, we have a Spider-Man in the MCU, but you guys could have even made your own version of Spider-Man once again. It could have been Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man as far as we care. But no, we get this. Now, like I said, I enjoyed this movie as long as it's a solo film. But don't give us these mentions if you're not going to actually do anything with them. That is my point, and that's all I'm going to be saying for now. So, if you guys like this video, leave a comment below, leave a like, subscribe, and if not, don't do anything. And otherwise, y'all keep on ranting.